Arrowhead Springs, California's ideal resort, tells the entire history of this historical place, including many rare photos. Mark Landis, the author, loves local history and does freelance writing for Inland Empire newspapers. You can get a copy of this book at landispublications.com.
In this episode of the history of Arrowhead Springs, we see many different owners and management companies come and go. Then the resort is sold to a religious organization and the era of hotels at the Springs comes to an end.
These two photos are similar in composition. The main difference is that they were taken approximately 60 years apart. Notice the arrowhead on the lawn is a pool in the 60s, and now it has been filled in and is covered in grass.
Life magazine came to Arrowhead Springs to do an article of the resort. They brought the Dorothy Preble modeling agency of Hollywood and 6 of their models to do the shoot. It was published in the March 1, 1948 edition of the magazine. This shot from inside the hotel room shows the girls playing around, until it turns into an all-out pillow fight. Here we see model Elizabeth Taylor posing by the pool. Plus the girls engage in the tradition of boiling eggs in the Penugal hot springs. Enjoying the world-famous Arrowhead Springs mud bath treatment. Here we see the girls headed down into the canyon below the hotel where the steam caves are. This is a shot of a water bath treatment and sitting inside of the steam caves. In 1949, Hotel Baron Conrad Hilton purchased Arrowhead Springs as a personal investment. He kept the current management team in place for a while, but eventually let them go and brought in his company, Hilton Hotels, to run the resort. At that time they decided to update the interior motif to Western. On the 6th of May, 1950, Conrad Hilton's son Nicky married actress Elizabeth Taylor. The newlyweds spent their wedding night at Arrowhead Springs Hotel, in room 620 on the top floor of the resort.
You pointed out we're very disappointed because we were going to get to go to room 620 today, but you told us that it's occupied.
Unfortunately, yes.
But tell everybody what the significance, and it's right up there. It's the middle of the 3 rooms up on the top. What the significance is of room 620?
Well, actually, back in the 50s, Conrad Hilton owned this hotel for about 4 years, and it was said that Arrowhead Springs was second in his heart only to the Waldorf Astoria. So his son Nicky Hilton was getting married at the time, and of course, what a great place to have his honeymoon. He was marrying Elizabeth Taylor. So they spent their honeymoon night here up in 620. So the legacy for Elizabeth Taylor started here at Arrowhead Springs.
So that's the Elizabeth Taylor bridal suite.
Yes, it is.
For the first one of her many marriages.
Yes.
That in itself makes that a historic place.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well,
This is what room 620 looks like today. Elizabeth Taylor's first of 8 marriages only lasted 205 days before she filed for divorce, citing physical and emotional abuse. In August of 1953, another forest fire raced towards the resort. Mark Landis wrote that helicopters were used for the first time to fight fire at the Springs. The hotel was spared, but the fire burned over the Arrowhead, badly scarring the symbol of San Bernardino. After this damage, businessmen put up money to have the arrowhead shored up on the edges to keep water from doing more damage before the vegetation could repair itself. Another era at Arrowhead Springs came to an end in August of 1956. The Hilton sold the resort to Benjamin Swig and the Fairmont Hotel Corporation.
If you ever see a photo of Arrowhead Springs with an arrow-shaped pool on the lawn, then the photo was taken between 1957 and the mid-1980s. This was a legacy from the Fairmont Hotel era. Eventually, it made more sense to just fill it in, and now it is just an arrow-shaped lawn. Esther Williams, the actress, who was famous for choreographing swimming pool scenes, was a regular at Arrowhead Springs. The big scalloped-shaped swimming pool at the Springs is well known as the Esther Williams Pool. And it was commonly believed that she filmed movies in that pool. However, in Mark Landis's book, he explains this as myth and there is no evidence that movie scenes were ever filmed in that pool. But it's a great story.
Eventually, the Fairmont Group leased out the resort to a San Bernardino investment group. This group, like many others over the years, could not make money with the facilities at the Arrowhead. With this failure, the hotel reverted back to Fairmont. Soon the Arrowhead Springs Resort was up for sale.
Campus Crusade for Christ was formed in the 1950s. It was a Christian organization that was growing and needing a facility to make their headquarters. When Arrowhead Springs Resort went up for sale, William Bright, the group's leader, went to work to purchase the resort. He said it was the greatest leap of faith of his life to buy Arrowhead Springs, since they really did not have the funds on hand to do so. $2 million is what Campus Crusade for Christ paid for the property. And for the first time since the good Dr. David Noble Smith's time at the Springs, money was not the driving force of the resort. In 1963, the highway going up Waterman Canyon was improved, and in the process, the rock archway entrance to the resort had to be demolished. The Indian sentinel that stood on the archway was known as Chief Tai Poos. When the arch was taken down, Chief Tai Poos ended broken up, down in a ditch. Here he stayed for many years, until two men, Mr. Lowe and Mr. Thompson, spearheaded a project to put the statue back together and construct a new platform for him. The right photo is Chief Tai Poos' new home. This photo I took in 2024, and by the looks of it, I would say Chief Tai Poos is ready for a new coat of paint. The Arrowhead Bowl is east of the hotel and north of the Esther Williams Pool. It was completed in 1967, and Reverend Billy Graham came to the Springs to speak and dedicate the amphitheater. Campus Crusade for Christ needed extra housing for over 800 staff at the facilities. These buildings, known as the Arrowhead Village, were also completed in 1967. It seems that Campus Crusade for Christ had outgrown even the large resort at Arrowhead Springs, and by October of 1991, over 500 staff had made their way to Orlando, Florida, where the new headquarters was established. Another era at Arrowhead Springs had come to an end. Selling a unique property like this would not be easy, but I don't think anyone had any idea just how long it would take.
Thank you for joining me for episode 6 of the history of Arrowhead Springs. A lot happened at the resort during the 50s and 60s. The resort was never so busy as it was during the Campus Crusade for Christ era, but as we leave Arrowhead Springs now, the resort is nearly empty and quiet. In the final episode, we will meet the current owners and I will show more photos and videos of what this unique area looks like today.